Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and Attention Coach Jeff Copper, and I'm here today to pay attention to rest. Now, I do coach those with ADHD, but this show is not specifically to those with ADHD, but it's related to those with ADHD, and I really want to talk about rest because rest is something that I've studied for years, particularly as an athlete. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. Swimmers, at least back when I swam, and still to a certain extent today, we would go through a resting process for something big like U.S. Nationals or NCAAs or something like that. And it would take about 3 weeks. We called it a taper. And basically what we would be doing is we'd be tapering off the amount of yards and the amount of effort we put into a workout. It was common for me to swim from 12 to 15,000 yards or meters a day, and over a 3-week period of time, we would taper off to about 1,500 yards or meters a day, which is about 10% of what we were doing on a regular basis. And what's interesting is that the resting process, I always remember the first week was horrific because I really felt uncomfortable. I would swim slower. As I would say, each stroke felt like something completely different. It felt awkward. And then as time would go on, it would get a little bit better. And then by the end, I would feel great. And so to put this in quantitative terms, this resting process for me in 1983, I went from 53 seconds and 100 backstroke down to 50.2 in the course of 5 weeks. Now, those are just numbers for you, but to put it in context, the American record at the time was a couple hundredths over 49 seconds. So during the season in dual meets, I was 4 seconds away, but by the time I got to NCAAs, I was within a second in the morning. Of course, it did get beat later in that day by about half a second, but the point really is that gives you the magnitude of how much I dropped. And my point really is rest isn't just sleeping one night. It's a process. It takes your body a while to kind of come together and recover. And I would argue that at the end of that 3 or 5 week taper that I went through, that I was probably more rested and alert. And I will have to tell you is that for me, when I was totally rested in swimming, if it looked easy, it really was as easy as it looked because I had trained for it and I had rested for it. And I was able to kind of handle it. It hurt, but not the same as you might think. Now, how does this relate to the real world? Well, it's kind of funny because I got out of swimming for years and started doing triathlons, and everybody would rest before a triathlon. And what they would do is they would take a day or two off before and rest. And I would akin that to like, if you drink coffee every day and you stop for 1 or 2 days, you feel horrible. Or if you drink alcohol every single night and you stop for a couple days, you actually feel horrible. If you exercise every day and you stop for a few days, you don't necessarily feel that good. Resting is something that takes longer. And so when I was a triathlete back in the days, I would start resting about a week out and found myself I could beat people that would beat me in training all the time just because I knew how to rest. Again, the thing that I really wanted to highlight here is rest, and to a certain extent pressure is not an overnight thing. It's just not I'm going to go to bed early 1 or 2 nights. It takes a period of time for you to truly mentally and physically kind of recover. And so as you sit down and say, I'm tired or I become recovered, please hold this in your mind because I think that if you take a longer term look and understand rest is not just going to bed once or twice earlier, it spans over a period of time, you might find yourself in a much better position to truly get yourself rested and get yourself energized like I did when I was swimming to perform at the highest levels that I could once I was truly rested. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, us paying attention to rest. I am an ADHD and attention coach. You can learn more about me by going to digcoaching.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button down here on the bottom. And we hope you've enjoyed the show. Take care.